Hey, this is Lauren. Welcome to the Afterlight. This is an excerpt from our full length episode. To listen to the full episode, head to the show notes and follow the link. Welcome to the Afterlight Podcast with me, Lauren Grace, a spiritual podcast full of stories and conversations that prove we're never alone. The Afterlight Podcast aims to inspire and educate. Remember, you are the authority on your own life. I encourage you to run everything through your own filter, to take what resonates, and I also urge you to do your own research and consult with qualified professionals for advice on your personal situation. The opinions shared by guests are their own, and any advice by our guests or by me is not a substitute for professional guidance. Thank you so much for listening, and I enjoy journeying back with you to the afterlight. Enjoy the episode. Yes, I can't wait to hear. So again, we're putting this out in early September 2025, and this is going to take us through until whatever time you feel appropriate, I suppose.
Well, okay, I'm so excited. So, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, my website is starpathbycara.com if you ever want a one-on-one reading. Um, so so literally when this episode comes out will be this Pisces eclipse, and that is going to be touching back on a lot of these themes that we've been talking about this ultimate surrender point. Um, and we have Saturn going to be back in Pisces, which is, to the dismay of anyone who has their natal Saturn in Pisces, because I hate to break it to you, but you're going to get the last leg of your Saturn return. Natal Saturn in Aries people, you get to go on your 15-minute break because you get to chill for a second. So and then we're going to have another eclipse in Virgo, September, I believe it's 21. And this is like, I'm calling this like just, it's such a juice cleanse of the Virgo part of our chart. It's at 29 degrees, which is like as peak ultimate Virgo as you can get. Um, I think it's going to be really clarifying. It's almost like this feeling of carry on only. Okay. So it's going to be a point to like really drop and cut a lot of crap. That's just really the best way to say it. And then as we keep moving through the end of this year, we have to do some revisiting of some old energies. And, a lot of people that I've been talking to kind of cringe when I say that because they're like, oh man, I'm so ready to move on. And I'm like, it's okay. Think of it this way. Think of it as like okay, this has happened to people I know before. You are walking your graduation ceremony, cap and gown, all that, and you get your degree, and then you get this email like 2 months later, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you actually have to take two more credits." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" So think of the rest of 2025 as like we really have to just get those two credits. All that heavy lifting really already was done. We are we really are graduated, and we have experienced these new energies, all this new frequency shifting, Uranus in Gemini, Saturn in Aries, Neptune in Aries, Pluto in Aquarius. I mean, all of this, like we're on board. But now we have to dip back and do a little soul calibrating, because when we go forward in February, this gives me chills every single time I talk about it. February 2026 is the freaking launch pad of your life. 0 degrees Aries. Think of that as the absolute most ultimate beginning for all of us. Somewhere in everyone's chart is 0 degrees Aries. And that is where Neptune and Saturn are going to meet in February next year. And that's when the party freaking starts for reals this time. That's when you get your degree in the mail. I mean, you are done. You are really ready to go forward. But so in that little interim though, over these next few months, we're going to be dipping back and realizing like, okay, is my spirit in line with this journey? Do I believe what I think I believe? Um, and if I do, how can I streamline this? How can I put this into practice? Um, we're going to have a challenge to Uranus moving back into Taurus, which is our value system. Could feel a little destabilizing with finances, money, body, food, land, your five senses. And it's again an opportunity to kind of renovate your foundations, what makes you feel valuable. And like I said too, like really getting real about our dreams and our spiritual practices. Like, for example, I've had some conversations lately where people are like, oh, I am spiritual and I do all the things, but I feel like crap. And I'm like, well, maybe they're just not in alignment. Like, just because it's spiritual doesn't mean that it's actually effective. So I definitely feel like that's going to be a huge closing out of this year is like getting really uh solid spiritually, really digging into faith and coming from a very like you're not going to be able to spiritually bypass your way through the end of 2025. You're going to have to do the real integrating too these lessons, putting them into work in your day-to-day life. And I mean, a lot of it is exactly like what we were talking about, like really learning to take these bigger things and, how do I show up on a Monday morning with that? Like, how do I take it from this nebulous, infinite, boundless place? And how can I literally practice this in my daily life? So it'll be important to know where you have Pisces in your chart, Aries, Taurus, because this is where we're doing a lot of kind of like that record scratch, like, and going backwards, regroup, remix. What did you forget? What do you need to course correction, further alignment? That way, when we hit 2026, you are ready to fly. So, I mean, I personally I'm trying to get excited about it because I was like so loving that all that Aries, like let's go kind of energy. Uranus and Gemini, just super electrifying, activating, exciting. But, everything is a beautiful divine orchestra. So it's like, you know what? For whatever reason, we're gonna do this. So try and have a good attitude and think of it as like, maybe there's some buried treasure there. There's something for you there, something you missed before you really move forward into that next episode.
Hi, thanks so much for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us a review where you listen to your podcasts and share it with your friends. Thank you. New episodes every Thursday.